This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. This is Ron Cody. My watch says 9 a.m. on Monday, May the 10th. So I will call the Dealer Practices Committee meeting to order. Alice, if you would be so kind as to read the roll.
Ron Cody,
Here.
Steve Farmer,
Here.
Michael Bohr, Liza Borsius, Gardner Britt, Rob Fisher,
Here.
Randy Harris, Chris Mayer,
Here.
Jeff Malloy,
Here.
Mark Riblett,
Here.
Senior Sagafi, Senior Sagafi. I see him. Okay, gotcha. I see you. Andrew Wiley.
I'm here.
All right, taking it back to Randy Harris.
Here.
Okay, Ron, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll also remind everybody on today's call to please mute your phones when you're not speaking to keep all background noise to a minimum. Also, I'll remind committee members to make sure you return your conflict of interest forms immediately following today's meeting. Moving along with the agenda, for those on the call, public comment will be taken for each agenda item. As each item comes up, you'll be given actually 2 opportunities to speak, one in the committee meeting and one in the full board meeting. Committee members, your summary from the last meeting is in the notebook. If there are no objections, I will assume the summary is approved. And also there are updates in your book from the last meeting. Moving on to old business, we do have one topic of old business. We had tabled an issue, tab 1 in your book, Abrams Autos and Mildred Bruce. William, tab 1.
Yes, first of all, good morning, everybody. Tab 1, Mildred Bruce, Abrams Autos and Mildred Bruce. On February 23rd, 2021, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Virginia Code Sections 46.2-1529, 46.2-1537, 46.2-1539, and 46.2-1575, number 2. Based on information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended assessing a civil penalty of $4,750 and revocation of dealer operator license and sales licenses. This particular issue was addressed at the last board meeting, and the board decided to table this particular issue until this meeting.
That is correct. Is Ms. Bruce on the phone? Just to refresh everybody's memory on this one, tab 1, we tabled at our last meeting. Ms. Bruce was going to go back and create an action plan by April the 26th to turn this business around. Mr. Melendez met with Ms. Bruce on several occasions. And I think in your packet, everyone has 3 or 4 correspondence from Ms. Bruce that voluntarily offers up her licenses as of the expiration of her license period, which started, I think, in early May. So she has opted to not renew her licenses and to return everything to the dealer board. And Mr. Melendez, I really appreciate all your help on this one as well. But that's where we stand on tab 2. So discussion from committee members. And just for clarification, William, has she returned everything, or are we still working with her to get dealer tags returned, etc.?
No, she has not returned the licenses or certificates. No.
Okay. I'm going to ask one more time. Does Ms. Bruce happen to be on the line? Okay, discussion by committee members?
Ron, this is Chris. I think based on what I've seen, that she wants to turn in her information. She's waiting on somebody to contact her to come pick it up, or whether she needs to mail it or whatever it may be. I guess the other issue at hand is we still have these outstanding charges against her and Abraham's Auto. So I guess that's something we should put, on the table to talk about right now. I saw some pretty egregious things that were done, inspection sticker promises to, customer getting it done on their own. I just, at this point here, we're going to be beating a dead horse. I'm just wondering if we don't reduce this fine to something that they can afford. Miss Bruce has, gracefully agreed that she probably can't do this any longer, so we should give her a way to easily step out.
Yeah, and Chris, I appreciate that. And just for clarification, we received all three of those correspondence the same day. If you look at when we received those from the dealer board, I think we received them all on May 6th. So we have been responsive, and William's team will get out there as soon as possible and make sure we get everything back. But it does take us back to the main issue at hand, and that is that we have a case before us with a civil penalty that was originally intended to be $4,750 and revocation of all licenses. So we do need to decide what to do, if anything, with that civil penalty. Other discussion? Just so you remember that the penalties consisted of basically 3 or 4 major categories. It dealt with dealer records, unlicensed salespeople. The vast majority of the fine, $3,250, dealt with 13 safety inspections that were not completed prior to sale of the vehicle. And then there was an additional $500 fine for obviously not adhering to previous written notification. So that's how the $4,750 was in fact calculated. And again, if I can get some discussion or a motion from committee members, I would appreciate it.
I'll make a motion, Ron.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we cut the fine in half to $23.75, and make sure that we collect all the plates and licenses from Ms. Bruce, and that'll give her a little break in that. They're not going to have any income right now from the dealership being closed. But that's my motion, that we reduce it to $23.75. She's on the way out the door, and we'll wish her luck and blessings and move on.
I would agree with Chris. I think that's more than fair based upon what we've seen. So I'll second that.
Okay, so motion of $23.75, revocation of all licenses, a motion made by Chris, second by Rob Fisher. Let's go ahead and take a vote on that motion.
Before you take your vote, can I ask for clarification, Mr. Cody? I want to be sure that in this license issue, we're talking about the dealer license, the salesperson license, and the dealer operator license, or we're just talking about 2 of the 3? I'm sorry, the dealer operator qualification, rather.
So the revocation originally was for dealer operator license and sales license of Mildred Bruce.
Okay.
And what is the third one, William, you're asking about?
Salesperson's license, dealer certificate, and dealer operator qualification.
Yeah, I assume all 3 of those would be revoked.
We'll make sure for the record. Okay.
Yes, all 3 licenses and a $23.75 fine. And Alice, if you could take a vote.
Ron Cody,
Yes, aye.
Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Bob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Mark Riblett,
Aye.
Senior Sagafi, Senior,
Senior, you can give us a thumbs up if you can't, we can't hear you. Okay.
Gotcha. Andrew Wiley.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries for a 2375 civil penalty, revocation of all 3 licenses. And we will go ahead and move on. Is there any old business from the floor? Hearing none, we will go to new business, tab 2, William, which is Virginia Auto Sales. Mr. Bashir.
Okay.
Good morning.
Mr. Bashir, we're going to go ahead and read the case, and then you'll be provided an opportunity to speak.
Okay, tab 2, Virginia Auto Sales, LLC, and Mohammed Bashir. Historical overview leading up to the formal hearing. On November the 10th, 2020, an informal fact-finding conference was conducted to address the alleged violations of Virginia Code Section 46.2-1500 and 46.2-1529. Based on the information provided at the conference, the hearing officer recommended assessing a penalty of $250 and a satisfactory inspection within 90 days. At the January 11th, 2021 Dealer Practice Committee and full board meetings, the board adopted a resolution assessing a $250 civil penalty and a satisfactory inspection of the Virginia Auto Sales dealership on or before April 11, 2021. On February 5th, 2021, Mr. Bashir appeared for a formal hearing. On March 3rd, 2021, a formal hearing was conducted to address the alleged violations previously listed. Based on the information provided at the hearing officer recommended assessing a civil penalty of $250 and a satisfactory inspection within 90 days.
Okay, so just to update the committee on this, this is a formal hearing appeal. Mr. Bashir has offered or has utilized the appeal process. I think this case originally started with a $1,000 civil penalty. We basically reduced it to $250, which I think primarily was due to the sale of a Honda prior to inspection. And so, Mr. Bashir, I will give you the floor.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to appeal this decision. My salesperson initially was working for another dealership, and at that point he had got the vehicle inspected, and then when we bought the vehicle from that particular dealer, I had assigned him to get the vehicle re-inspected, and he assured me that he had done it so. But unfortunately, he did not do what he was supposed to be doing to get the vehicle re-inspected, even though it was already inspected prior to getting ownership from another dealer in Virginia. And that's why he is also no longer with our company.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Bashir? Okay, thank you, sir. And you will also be given an opportunity to speak at the full board meeting following this meeting. Discussion by committee members? If there's no discussion, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion, Ron.
Okay,
I make a motion, we accept the hearing officer's recommendation, $250 fine and 90-day inspection.
okay, so Chris Mayer makes a motion, $250 civil penalty and satisfactory inspection within 90 days, which is what the hearing officer recommended in the formal hearing. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Rob Fisher seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Okay, Alice, if you would be kind enough to take a vote.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Rob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Mark Riblett,
Aye.
Senior Sagapi,
Aye.
Andrew Wiley.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, motion carries for a $250 civil penalty, satisfactory inspection within 90 days. And as I said, Mr. Bashir, if you'd like to join us back for the full board meeting, you will be given an opportunity to speak at that time as well. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Is there any other new business from the floor? Hearing no new business from the floor, the Dealer Practices Committee meeting will adjourn, and our next meeting will be on July the 12th. Thank you.
I'd like to call a license committee to order. Alice, can you call the roll, please?
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
Ted Bailey, Dan Bannister, Ozza Borchers, Gardner Britt, David Duncan,
Here.
Dennis Elmer,
Here.
Bob Fisher,
Here.
Randy Harris,
Here.
Senior Sagafi,
I'm here.
Don Sullivan,
Here.
Andrew Wiley.
I'm here.
This is Dan Bannister. I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Ted Bailey? Okay, you have a quorum.
Thanks. I'd like to announce anyone that has on the agenda. We'll give them an opportunity to speak when the agenda item comes up. If there's no objections, I'd like to move for approval for the March committee meetings summary. That stands approved. There are no objections. Or any old business for the Dealer License Committee? Is there any old business from the floor? There is no new business at this time on the agendas, so I'd like to ask, is there any new business from the floor? There's no new business from the floor. Our next meeting is scheduled for July 12th, and we'll reconvene for the all committees this afternoon, well, this morning. Thanks.
All right, like to call the Motor Vehicle Dealer Board Advertising Committee to order. If you'll call the roll.
David Duncan?
Here.
Ted Bailey? Dan Bannister?
Here.
Michael Bohr? Ozza Borchers? Dennis Elmer?
Here.
Randy Harris?
Here.
Ron Cody?
Here.
Jeff Malloy?
Here.
Mark Riblett?
Here.
Maurice Slaughter?
Here.
Don Sullivan?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Alice. I should state that all who are on the agenda be given an opportunity to speak when their agenda item comes up. You see if there are any, I don't know if there are any other public comments. I'd like to approve the March 2021 meeting summary. If there are no objections, the March 2021 committee meeting summary will be approved. On the agenda this morning, there was no old business on the docket. Is there any old business from the floor? Hearing none, I didn't have a new business item either, but if there's any new business on the floor, I'd be glad to hear it now. No business on the floor, then we will schedule our next advertising committee meeting for Monday, July 12th. We'll stand adjourned.
Okay, I guess that's where I come in here. Alice, we're going to call the Transaction Recovery Fund Committee meeting to order. If you'd call the roll, please.
Chris Mayer,
Here.
Jeff Malloy,
Here.
Dan Bannister,
Here.
Dennis Elmer,
Here.
Steve Farmer,
Here.
Rob Fisher,
Here.
Ron Cody,
Here.
Mark Riblett,
Here.
Maurice Slaughter,
Here.
Don Sullivan,
Here.
Andrew Wiley.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Alice. Under public comment, we'll be limited to speak about agenda items that are on the list here. If anybody would like to speak, I'd like to move that we approve the March 8th, 2021 meeting summary. If there's no objections, I'll move that we approve that. Under old business, is there any old business from the floor? There is no old business or business from the floor, so we'll move on to the next tab. Under new business, is there any new business from the floor? Our next scheduled meeting will be July 12th, 2021, and that would be the quickest Transaction Recovery Fund meeting we've had yet. We'll adjourn.
William, are we ready to go with the full board meeting?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we're ready.
Okay. Let me call the meeting to order and ask the clerk to call the roll.
Ted Bailey, Dan Bannister,
Here.
Michael Bohr, Liza Borges, Gardner Britt, David Duncan,
Here.
Dennis Elmer,
Here.
Steve Farmer,
Here.
Rob Fisher,
Here.
Randy Harris,
Here.
Ron Cody,
Here.
Chris Mayer,
Here.
Jeff Malloy,
Here.
Mark Riblett,
Here.
Senior Sagafi,
Here.
Maurice Slaughter,
Here.
Don Sullivan,
Here.
Andrew Wiley,
Here.
Rick Holcomb.
Here.
Okay, there's a quorum.
Thank you. Without objection, the minutes from the summary from the March 8th meeting stand approved. Public comment, we will open up for public comment. Anything related to the agenda you'll be asked to speak during that period. Is there any public comment? Okay, we'll go to the statutory committee meetings. Mr. Cody, please report on the Dealer Practices Committee.
Yes, Commissioner, Dealer Practices met earlier this morning. A quorum was present. We did approve a summary from the last committee meeting, and we do have 2 resolutions for full board consideration. And Mr. Childress, if you would go ahead and read the first resolution, tab 1.
Yes. Abraham's Autos and Mildred Bruce. Whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence in the report of an informal fact-finding conference as prepared by the hearing officer concerning Abraham's Autos and Mildred Bruce for alleged violations of Virginia Code sections 46.2-1529, 46.2-1537, 46.2-1539, and 46.2-1575, number 2. And whereas, based on due consideration, the board believes the following actions should be taken against Abraham's Autos and Mildred Bruce. 1, assess a civil penalty of $2,375. And 2, revoke all licenses, certificates, and qualifications issued by the board to Abraham's Autos and Mildred Bruce. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board mandates that Abraham's Autos and Mildred Bruce hereby be assessed a civil penalty of $2,375, and all licenses, certificates, and qualifications issued by the board to Mildred Bruce and Abraham's Autos are hereby revoked.
And Mr. Chairman, is that your motion?
It is, Mr. Chairman, and Ms. Bruce was not present at this morning's meeting.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, Ron Fisher seconds. Discussion? Okay, when the clerk calls the roll, all in favor say aye, opposed nay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Commissioner, do we want to make sure, just that I can't tell everybody that's on the call, just see if Ms. Bruce is on?
Absolutely, Ron. Thank you for that. Ms. Bruce, or is anyone representing that dealership on the call? Okay, apparently she's not participating, so go forward with the calling the vote, Madam Clerk.
Ian Bannister,
Aye.
David Duncan,
Aye.
Dennis Elmer,
Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Bob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
Ron Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Mark Riblett,
Aye.
Senior Sagafi,
Aye.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
Don Sullivan,
Aye.
Andrew Wiley,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Okay, the motion carries. Mr. Chairman, next item.
Yes, Commissioner. Tab 2, Virginia Auto Sales, Mr. Bashir. William?
Yes, Virginia Auto Sales, LLC, and Mohammed Bashir. Whereas based on the evidence and the report of an informal fact-finding conference as prepared by a hearing officer, the Motor Vehicle Dealer Board assessed a $250 civil penalty and a satisfactory inspection against Virginia Auto Sales, LLC, and Mohammed Bashir. And whereas Mohammed Bashir appeared the board's decision and requested a formal hearing that was conducted on March 3rd, 2021. And whereas the board has reviewed and considered the facts and evidence and the report of a formal hearing as prepared by the hearing officer concerning Virginia Auto Sales and Mohammed Bashir for alleged violations of Virginia Code sections 46.2-1500 and 46.2-1529. And whereas based on due consideration, the board believes that the following actions should be taken against Virginia Auto Sales and Mohammed Bashir. 1, assess a civil penalty of $250, and 2, Virginia Auto Sales dealership shall be inspected by Motor Vehicle Dealer Board field representative by August 10th, 2021, and that inspection shall be satisfactory. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board mandates that Virginia Auto Sales and Mohammed Bashir hereby be assessed a civil penalty of $250, and that the Virginia Auto Sales dealership shall satisfactorily pass an inspection conducted by a Motor Vehicle Dealer Board field representative on or before August 10th, 2021. And therefore be it further resolved by the board that failure to comply with the board's mandates by the required dates will result in the suspension of all licenses, certificates issued by the board until such time the Virginia Auto Sales and Mohammed Bashir successfully comply with the board's mandates.
And Mr. Chairman, is that your motion?
It is, Commissioner. Mr. Bashir was in attendance earlier today.
Okay, let me get a second and then we'll recognize him if he's still on the call. Is there a second to the motion that's been made by the chair?
I'll go.
Okay, thank you. Rob Fisher seconds that. Mr. Bashir, I don't see your name on the screen, but Mr. Bashir, are you still on the call with us? Okay, and Mr. Chairman, I don't believe that Mr. Bashir objected to the $250 fine. He explained how the inspection mishap happened, but and also explained that the individual who was involved is no longer with his organization. Again, I'll call out Mr. Bashir. Are you on the call? Okay. I still don't see or hear him. So, Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
Dan Bannister,
Aye.
David Duncan,
Aye.
Dennis Elmer,
Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Rob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
John Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Mark Riblett,
Aye.
Senior Sagafi,
Aye.
Mari Slaughter,
Aye.
Don Sullivan,
Aye.
Andrew Wiley,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, does that conclude your report?
It does, Commissioner. There was no other discussion, and our committee adjourned with our next meeting scheduled for July 12th at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Licensing Committee, Mr. Slaughter, Chairman Slaughter.
Mr. Commissioner, License Committee met this morning and we had a quorum. There were no public comments. We approved the meeting summary from the March meeting. And with no old business on the agenda or from the floor, with no new business on the agenda or from the floor, we closed the meeting out and the next meeting is scheduled for July 12th.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Advertising Committee, Chairman Duncan.
Yes, Mr. Commissioner, we, Advertising Committee met this morning. We had a full quorum. There were no public comments, and we did approve the meeting summary from the March meeting. There was no old business from the floor. Likewise, there was no new business from the floor. So our next scheduled meeting will be Monday, July 12th.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Transaction Recovery Fund Committee, Chair Meyer.
Mr. Commissioner, we met this morning. We had a quorum. There was no public comments. We did approve the March meeting summary. There was no old business. There was no new business. And our next meeting will be July 12th at 9 a.m., sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, old business, William Childers, I'll ask you to give us an update on the 2-day dealer operator contract.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board members, as you recall, during the last board meeting, we discussed the 2-day dealer operator contract that's currently in place with the BIADA. During that conversation, we talked about many different things, including, I guess, potential options. But at the end of the particular session, I was directed by the board to go back with some specific instructions to fix the contract from the things that we talked about. And I'm bringing these things forward to you so you can see this. The things that you've asked to be done have been done. In addition, BIADA wanted to present a increase at this time. So this is all coming before you now to vote before we sign the contract with them. So you should have a copy of the contract. It should have been in the in your notes, in your package with you. It should have been under tab 3, I believe. So the contract. So what I would do is go over the changes very quickly, because these are the same things that we discussed during the last meeting. The first change that you will note took place under section C. We didn't discuss this one during the last meeting, but this is the price increase that BIADA was requesting. The price before in the previous contract was $325 for the class. They're proposing an increase of $60 to make it $385, and of that $60 increase, $15 will go to the Motor Vehicle Dealer Board, to us, as part of our efforts to for what we're doing here. In addition, it would also raise the late fee to $435. So people who are applying for the class within 2 weeks of the class or after will pay the $435 flat fee. So BIADA will collect the money they're doing now, and they will submit the money back to the dealer board as they're doing currently. But the bottom line here is an increase of $60, of which $45 stays with the BIADA, and $15 that comes to the Motor Vehicle Dealer Board. If the board approves this, then the total take for the dealer board would be $50 overall when it comes to people signing up for the 2-day dealer operator course. Okay, further down in section D, course specifics, this is where the board agreed to move the word exclusively. As you see there, that word has been removed in the contract going forward. Before I go any further, any questions about those two items? Okay. Also under number 2, under section D, you see there, we made an amendment, we made a change there, and the change during the pandemic, there was a size limitations on the class, but we did not invoke that, or we did not stick by that requirement. We understood that the governor had put out executive orders that limited class size and class participation based off of social distancing requirements. And the BIADA made the adjustment accordingly, and they just taught more classes, had more of them rather, over the period of time. But in this contract, we went ahead and put some language in that gives us an opportunity to comply with any executive order that the governor may issue. They may have to deal with limitations on class size or a location. So that's what that is there for. Now, also while we were here, one of the things we've always been concerned with in the past is the, I guess, class size being big and number of participants. In the situation here, what we decided to do was we're telling the BIADA if they have 2 instructors in the classroom over the whole period, then they can have 2 instructors, then they can have the class size increase up to a maximum of 50. However, if they only have 1 instructor, they cannot exceed 30 people. So this is something, again, that we've talked about in the past, and now we finally put it in writing. You go down to number 3, all we did was make some simple adjustments here. The class can be offered no less than 12 times a year, up to 28 times a year. So we changed it 24 to 28 times per year, and that is it for section 2. So anybody have any questions about section 2? The governor's order, executive order, and the class size of not exceeding 50 people as long as you have 2 instructors in the classroom, and the number of times the class can be taught a year through the BIADA. It's still 12 minimum, but no more than 28 times a year. Okay. Under section G, this was a big deal because when we met last time, we were under a tight window to, sign the contract or let BIADA know that we were going to renew the contract. What we did here was we changed it from 14 days out to make it so that we have to let them know about contract being renewed prior to March 31st. This way gives us at least a guaranteed 2 weeks minimum time period for the board to meet, discuss this matter before we have to let them know whether we're going to approve the contract or not. So this is a lot better than we had before. It gives a lot more time to make that decision and bring it to the board's attention for the board to give their feedback and then give me my direction as to what you want me to do. So that's been changed to March 31st rather. Have any questions about that? Okay, under section I, basically it's just updating information for the BIDA contact. So basically there, you have Alvin Melendez information there and their new address, because they moved to Richmond in the Midlothian area. That's just contact information. And I believe that is all of the changes, other than the signature block, which also just updates Mr. Melendez's name as the person authorized to sign the contract. So those are the contract changes that I'm bringing to the board. And my purpose of bringing it to the board is to get your permission, I guess, once you discuss it and take in consideration that things have been changed. But the idea here is that when we finish this discussion today, that you will give me the authority to sign off on this contract and get the signatures from the VIADA as well to put this contract in effect by July 1st, effective July 1st, rather.
Okay, William, I think that the proper procedure would be to entertain a motion to approve the contract as drafted with the edits that William has discussed this morning or pointed out this morning. Once we have that seconded, then we will open it up for discussion. So let me ask for a motion to put the contract revised as discussed by the executive director before the board for discussion and approval.
I'll make that motion. It's Andrew Wiley.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it, David Duncan.
Okay, David Duncan seconds. Discussion. William, just a question, because there's always concern when any fee is increased. When was the last time that this particular fee was increased, or has it ever been increased during the life of the contract?
I want to say 2018 when it was last increased.
Okay. Does anyone else have questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion that's been properly seconded. All in favor will say aye when their name is called. Opposed will say nay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Dan Bannister,
Aye.
David Duncan,
Aye.
Dennis Elmer,
Aye.
Steve Farmer,
Aye.
Rob Fisher,
Aye.
Randy Harris,
Aye.
John Cody,
Aye.
Chris Mayer,
Aye.
Jeff Malloy,
Aye.
Mark Riblett,
Aye.
Senior Sagati,
Aye.
Maurice Slaughter,
Aye.
Don Sullivan,
Aye.
Andrew Wiley,
Aye.
Rick Holcomb.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, William, I think you've got your direction on that item.
Thank you.
Now, Salesman licensing update, Mr. Cody.
Yes, Commissioner. As far as we know, salesperson licensing is keeping up with demand. We appreciate all the support of the DMV CSCs, and in particular the Sterling, the old Sterling CSC. We have been using that on Wednesdays for the full day. However, and William and I were talking about this, due to demand, he has already coordinated with your folks that we will go to a half day starting on May the 12th. And from 1 to 5 p.m. will be salesperson licensing at the old Sterling Customer Service Center. Everything else appears to be going well. And as I said, demand is not outstripping our supply of slots at this point in time. And we have heard no further complaints.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I always like to make assignments to you because you always do such a fabulous job. But clearly, the governor, we have legislation which requires all of the state agencies to put together their DEI plan, diversity, equality, and inclusion. I might have gotten the E wrong. But One of the things that I've mentioned in the past that I would like to have the dealer board look at and discuss, and certainly William DMV can be involved with that. Right now, we offer our testing in 26 different languages. For the dealer board, we only offer it in English. And so I'm just asking William for maybe a little bit of study on whether the dealer board is inclined to expand the languages that test would be offered to maybe be a little bit more inclusive. William, we don't, and I guess a question for you, William. I know that certainly if someone comes in and they want to take one of our tests in one of the languages, in a language other than the 26 that we offer, we allow for an interpreter. Do we, and I'm asking a question, I just don't know, William. Do we allow someone taking one of these tests to bring in an interpreter?
No, we don't.
Okay. Well, again, I'm just putting that on the table. I think there's this administration is very committed to diversity, is very committed to outreach to underserved communities, and I'm just would like maybe some study and some discussion on that topic on whether we think, because certainly we have seen a tremendous diversity on who we're licensing and who we're licensing as salespeople, and I'm just wondering if it's something that the dealer board would want to think about. So Ron, could I just, I guess I'm really asking William to do some study under your leadership, and let's maybe report back, if not the July meeting, the September meeting, on whether that's a direction that the dealer board wants to go. And William, I know you just like us, we have to file our DEI plan by July 1, and I'm just thinking that this might be an item that you can at least say that we're looking at and studying.
Okay, got it.
And any comment on that issue?
Commissioner, no, we had brought that topic up once before, and I think that the highly recognized and acclaimed Dan Bannister was also asked to participate in that process. So if he does not have a lot of public engagements, we'll try to get his time as well and see where we can take this.
Well, I see that Dan has just turned his microphone on, so he may have a different thought. But Dan,
I'll follow Ron's lead.
Look,
whatever you need.
I think having Dan as your co-chair, Ron, is an excellent move. And you're right, Dan has been very progressive on this issue. So I appreciate you including him in the leadership of this study effort.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, and let's go to the next issue, the dealer portal update. William.
Yes, dealer portal update. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. During the last meeting, we had discussed with the board that we had just talked to vendor E, and at that time, we were waiting for vendor E to give us back some prices, some I guess price structures or different things for their product. To refresh your memory a little bit here, vendor E is a vendor that has a licensing software that they own that is in use by several agencies within the state of Virginia. For example, the Department of Professional and Occupational Regulation, which is we call DPOR, 20 various boards all use this software. Also, the Virginia Department of Health Professionals, the Virginia Board of Accountancy, and the Virginia Department of Education all use this licensing software to issue licenses in their respective areas. We have talked with vendor E. We do have I guess a series of prices that we want to share with the board. But Mr. Chairman, I would like, if possible, and we can discuss this, I would like to either at the end of the July meeting, have a separate meeting just to talk about our options for the dealer portal. And my reason for doing so, sir, is because we've talked to 6 different vendors, and I want the board to hear about all 6 of them, as well as to get a presentation on our budget structure, so they can see the gravity of what we're dealing with, because I think it's going to take a lot more time than we would do in a normal meeting. And I want the board to be able to look at this whole picture, focus on it, and make that decision going forth, whether it's to go to committee or to move forth with a particular vendor. But I think it's going to be something that's going to be very detailed, very heavy. And I want the board to just spend time focusing on this issue at hand and nothing else. So we could do it in the fashion of, at the end of our regular board meeting, have a special meeting just to talk about the dealer portal and all those things, or however you want to do it. But I think it's going to take some time for the board to get the big picture. And my reason for that also, sir, is because, as you know, Mr. Commissioner, and your job as Commissioner of DMV, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, we don't get money from taxpayers like a lot of agencies do. And therefore, over the past few years, with the requirements from Vida in terms of security requirements, in terms of equipment, the escalation of prices and everything, we're at a point now with the dealer board where at the end of the fiscal year, we may be lucky to have $90,000 left over from the previous year. And we don't do anything but just pay salaries, pay benefits, pay rent, and pay for the equipment that we're using as far as the cars and stuff. We don't buy anything other than required supplies, but we'll need to look at the budget thing as well for the big picture in the long run and see how the portal fits in with that.
Okay, William, a couple of things, and this might be a question for Christian. Certainly, I think you're absolutely right, William. We should have a separate discussion. Do you envision, and obviously we will be talking about contractual matters, which are legal, and which might suggest that an executive session, particularly if we're going to be talking about any proprietary items that the various vendors are offering. I don't know, Christian, I would probably ask between now and the July meeting if you and William could discuss and whether it would be proper to move into executive session to have that discussion, or whether that would need to continue to be an open session.
You're on mute, Christian.
Christian, you're still muted. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, William and I will get together and we can talk about whether we would need to do that or not, and how to proceed properly so it's done right.
Okay. And William is right. This first of all, I'm not going to won't have the discussion now, but certainly some of the benefits that are going to be coming to the dealer community as a result of the portal are things that the dealers have been asking for years. And I will tell you, when you work with the private sector contractors, it does not come cheaply. And so, I think that's going to be the major part of the discussion. Okay, you've asked for the Cadillac. Are you willing to pay for the Cadillac? And I'm sorry for any Cadillac dealers out there, or any Volkswagen dealers, because we might have to settle for a beautiful new Volkswagen instead of a beautiful new Cadillac. So I will stand corrected. I see a lot of dealers shaking their head no, that was probably not a good analogy, but we will have that discussion. But be prepared to determine, come prepared to determine how badly do you want these enhancements, and what are you willing to pay for them. So William, good. We will have that discussion, and by the time we start the July meeting, we will know whether we will go into executive session. If not, we will adjourn the regular board meeting and have a special meeting to discuss this.
Okay.
Thank you, William.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I saw Ann was on earlier. VADA, and anything you want to talk? Oh, there's Ann. Ann, is there anything you want to talk about? I know it's probably a little too early to be talking about the 2022 session, but and I know we've talked in the past about what's come out of the 2021 session. But Ann, anything you want to provide on a legislative update?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, it is a little early for 2022, but the one thing we did want to mention is that there were some significant changes to the overtime rules in Virginia that may impact dealerships, and just everyone be aware that the auto-specific exemptions for salesmen, partsmen, and mechanics were not included in the Virginia Overtime Wage Act. So we are providing some resources for our dealers about compliance. We think there's another exemption that may be able to be relied on, but just understand that as of July 1st, you don't have those automatic exemptions anymore. So more to come on that, but just wanted to raise that issue.
Great, thank you, Ann. Alvin, any update from the VIADA?
We basically have the same as Ann at VADA. I am getting calls on the overtime rule and trying to gather more information to inform my dealers on that report. I don't have 100% of everything yet to be able to give my dealers, but it's a little complicated to figure out. But we're working with that right now.
Okay, Alvin, thank you, sir. Is there any other old business from the floor? Okay, under new business, and let me sort of answer Chris Meyer's question before I ask it again. Honestly, I think looking at what our governor has been saying of late, and the good news is vaccinations are up, infections are down, positive cases are down. He's suggested that if this continues, he will lift all restrictions on June the 15th. And again, if this pattern continues, that the declared emergency may be ended by the end of June. So now, having said all of that, William, I am willing to start some discussions about whether the July meeting will be in person. Or whether we'll do one more of these, but a couple of things that William, and I want to make sure that Rebecca Parsley, is our health person, that she is comfortable and putting this group together in person. Now, I will tell folks we might need to do one of the large training rooms initially instead of 702 because it's somewhat cramped, and we can at least maintain a little bit of social distancing. The other thing that would be helpful to me, and I can't ask it of you, but if anyone wants to volunteer, like I'm getting ready to volunteer, I will tell you I'm fully vaccinated. I had my second shot over a month ago. And feel a lot more comfortable about them. I'm actually going out to dinner now at restaurants because I'm so comfortable. If any members are comfortable in letting William know, and William, if you then can relate back to me just numbers. I don't want names of people who are vaccinated and people who are not vaccinated, because certainly there are health reasons and legitimate religious reasons not to get vaccinated, but we're not going to get this completely behind us until we have that herd immunity. And that's what I'm looking for, William. I'm looking for that. Hopefully you will come back to me and tell me that 70% of the dealer board, without giving me specific names, have been fully vaccinated. And I think that would give me even more reason to try to work out a in-person meeting. In-person meeting next meeting in July. Any comments or thoughts on that? I mean, or let me just say, certainly Chris made some very good points last time about why he thought it would be helpful to get back in the room and talk about issues and actually be together again. And I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but is there anyone who thinks we might be too premature to even having this discussion about the July meeting being in person? William, I'm seeing some head shaking no. I don't see anybody seeking recognition. Maurice, I see your mic is on. Any comments that you want to make?
Commissioner, I agree with you. Interesting enough, I called VP of Human Resources this morning at 8 and asked her to do the same thing.
Okay.
It was just dead silence on the phone. They didn't want to approach it. They didn't talk about the HIPAA law. But I'm on board with you. I think it's time for us to meet. I've gotten my shots, and I think it'll be worth us meeting. But it was just interesting the response I got from my company on that one. Yeah.
And Maurice, I appreciate that. It really is a personal matter, but if you're looking for the greater good of the Commonwealth, the greater good of everyone you're around, your family, your friends, being vaccinated is the best way to go. So, William, that's sort of like I said, I don't think I've not seen any objections to at least discussing the possibility of putting together a live meeting. So let's, if you can proceed with that, and like I said, I will designate someone, probably just work with Vivian Cheatham and on what you're finding, and then like I said, we'll look to see whether we can accommodate the meeting in 702, or whether we do need to use one of the larger training rooms because of to allow some slight social distancing.
Okay, got it.
So obviously, having said that, the July meeting will be July 12th.
Right.
Is that correct, William?
That's correct.
And William, remind me, or Christian can, how far out do we have to notice the meeting? Because obviously we will need to make a decision on the location. Is that a 2-week requirement, or I can't remember exactly how far off we have to post the meetings?
Mr. Chairman, I've been going 7 days on my public
7
meetings.
days. Okay, so we have a little time to have that discussion, and certainly we can probably make the decision after June 15th to see exactly what the governor has done. So thank you, William. Is there further new business from the floor?
Commissioner, one other comment I wanted to make, if I can, is that I forgot to provide this in my update. The electronic sales licensing process or application process is going well. We appreciate all the dealer support. I think William said there's been over 200 applications completed electronically, which is really helping everybody. And if you have an issue where you're not sure how to use that system, obviously we're here to help out.
Good. Ron, I appreciate that.
And Mr. Chairman, I do have one thing I would like to ask as well. I guess at some point we need to get some direction from the board or discuss as I guess the Commonwealth opens back up, when we're going to look at the dealerships, because a lot of them, especially on the independent side, are practicing sales by appointments. So they're not maintaining the 20 hours as required by law. We waived that when the pandemic started. So at some point, the board may need to look at, okay, at some point, we have to either reinstitute that, or how much longer we're going to allow them to do what they're doing, just so we can be aware of what's going on, and just so we can communicate with the industry what the expectations are.
Well, and William, I'm not sure. Maybe that's an issue that we need to discuss now, because let's play out what we hope that the governor will be announcing. Again, if these numbers, if the vaccination numbers keep going up and the infection numbers keep going down, and the governor does in fact end the state of emergency on June the 30th, I'm not saying on July 1 that we start enforcing, but we may want to start giving you some authorization to say, okay, 30, 60 days after the end of the emergency, or 90 days, these requirements will go back into place.
Okay.
Is there any thoughts on that? On how we, I mean, obviously, when the pandemic is in the rearview mirror, as the governor notes, we're going to be back to normal, but it's going to be a new normal. Ron made a good point that I think there's clearly some enhancements that the dealer board has done over the last 14 months to make things more accessible electronically, and so that will never go back to the way it was. we'll continue to do that. So yeah, let me just hear some discussion about when should we tell dealers that, okay, this is in the rearview mirror. We now are expecting business as usual, and you should expect inspections as usual from the dealer board. Chris, I see your mic is on. Do you want to make a comment?
I'm ready to comment. Yeah, I think we follow the same guidelines that you're discussing right now with the dealer board. And if we get the green light to go ahead and start meeting as a dealer board, then we're telling everybody else it's time to start meeting too. So maybe we give them a 30-day window to follow suit on what we discussed and what we agree upon.
And I see your comment.
Yeah, I was just going to note that in addition to the state of emergency and the governor's rules, there are also the workplace safety regulations. Yes. So yes, those have a time frame for being reviewed and hopefully repealed after the state of emergency is declared. But it may be, if the state of emergency ends the end of June, it may still be several weeks before that happens. So just one more thing to keep our eyes on. And as dealers are trying to comply with those, they may have reduced staff, reduced hours, and taken other steps.
And thank you. That is an excellent point. I think, because I asked my staff that very question, and I think it's a 14-day window that DOLE has to determine whether those temporary regulations are repealed or whether they continue. So yeah, you're right.
It says 14 days to set a meeting, so I don't know what that means. If they have to meet within 14 days, or so anyway, it's just one more thing to keep our eyes on.
Yeah. So I think Ann makes a real good point, William. So I think what we will do is we will defer further discussion on this to the July meeting, because I think that we clearly need to know, and if the governor says the emergency is over on the 30th, and 14 days from that is when we will know more about the DOLE temporary regs. So let's defer further conversation on this. But I think that, yeah, the dealership community should start knowing that the dealer board's going to expect normalcy, probably sometime in July, after the regulations are dealt with.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any further new business from the floor? Okay, William, your report for us.
My report will be short and sweet, just an update for the board members and those who are interested. Like all state agencies throughout this pandemic, we've experienced our fair share of ups and downs and losses in terms of people leaving the agency. Right now, the dealer board has we've lost 2 part-time field reps, and we're losing a full-time field rep effective July 1st to retirement. And we also lost a staff member here in the main office who left us on April the 1st. So we're looking at, I guess, ramping back up again and getting those positions in place. But also, like everybody else, we're looking at doing things differently and finding more efficient ways to get things done. Mr. Chairman, a minute ago, you just mentioned the fact that the electronic salesperson process we have in place, which will not go away. Another thing that came out of the pandemic that we were discussing prior to the pandemic, that the pandemic forced us to go ahead and put in action, is not going away. And that's going to be hearings that we do virtually. We will never go back to doing hearings in person unless the dealer requests a in-person hearing. So that's something that'll be a new normal, which would be probably a great tool because it will save us a lot of time, a lot of money for the dealerships as well. But the field reps will now be able to do their testimony or their part of the hearing from wherever they're located in that 20-30 minute time, and not sacrifice a whole day to come to Richmond to do a hearing, then to take the rest of the day to go back to where they came from. So throughout this process, there's been a lot of positive things that come forth, even though we had a negative situation, which many lives were lost. But we are still, as always, looking forward to moving forth and refining and getting better. And as we talk about the dealer portal in the July meeting, we also have a couple things that we think we can do to help support the acquisition of the portal in terms of efficiencies that the portal can bring to the dealer board operations and staff. So I just want to give you guys a heads up about that and just let you know where we stand. And thank everybody for their patience. Thank everybody for their input. The associations, VIADA and BIADA, thank you for your input and your guidance as well. Mr. Chairman, thank you for your continuous guidance and support. And board members, I appreciate all of you and looking forward to the upcoming year. Thank you.
Thank you, William. Let me just give a real quick update about the DMV new normal. Obviously, we've been appointment only. Quite frankly, we've planned to continue that. 78% of the customers like the appointment. They're able to determine how much time to devote to come into the DMV, and it's now like less than an hour as compared to hours. So yeah, gone will be the days where you wake up and say, gosh, I'm going to go to the DMV and sit with 100 of my best friends shoulder to shoulder, waiting hours to be served. Now, I will tell you that we are already planning to open more windows, and certainly that will allow more appointments. But let me also tell the dealer community, please accept my thanks. The online dealer program has always been something that we've been very proud of, both from the DMV standpoint and from the dealer standpoint. And I think Virginia was probably one of the first states to stand that up, and we've continued to expand it and the number of vendors as well as the number of dealers. Certainly, if you're a franchise dealer, you have no choice. You've got to be online. And I will tell you, I suspect that your customers have been very pleased during the last 14 months when you have told them, particularly for those 2 months that we were closed, and you could tell them that, no, don't worry about DMV, we can process your work right here. Certainly, if you're an independent and you sell more than 100 units, you need to be online as well. We saw a very large increase and online dealer work done over the last year, and so again, I appreciate y'all doing that work. I know your customers probably appreciate it even more, so thank you for that. So any other comment for the good of the order? I see no one activate. Alvin, I see your mic is on.
Yes, Mr. Commissioner, I wanted to commend you first for the before COVID hit, we were looking into the real IDs, and you came in with a great idea of implementing 3 big processing centers in Virginia. And had we not done that prior to COVID, Virginia will be in a whole different stage right now this time, processing titles for dealers, independent and franchises as a whole. And this was just like we were looking for this, like if it was going to happen. And the fact that we were prepared ahead of time, it came from a good leadership. And I want to commend you for that, because had that not been in place, this would have been really bad for all of us. Thank you so much.
Well, Alvin, I appreciate that, and in fact, and I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but since we've been reopened, and we started reopening the offices back last May the 18th, we've done about 15 million transactions through all service modes, including the online dealer program. Only 4.5 million of those folks actually had to be served in the customer service center. So yes, we've got folks who are migrating to the internet and to mail to do their renewals. Let me also suggest to to all of you who are participating on the online dealer program, and I know this is a little bit of a challenge because I know your service people run service, and I know your title people comes out of sales. But bottom line, if you've got a car sitting in that bay that you're servicing, and you note that their decals are getting ready to expire, you can go ahead and renew those. Now, I think there's been a lot of discussion about well, that's a lot of work for not a whole lot of pay, but from a customer service standpoint, you certainly can assist folks. I will also tell you the biggest challenge we've had during the pandemic, and one that is probably going to be a reason that we're going to be opening and putting a number more title appointments on the books is the casual sales. Absolutely, when someone buys from one of our great dealers who is online, they never even have to think about going to DMV. But if you buy it from your next door neighbor, that is a challenge to probably get a timely appointment, and that's what we're addressing by adding. We hope to increase over the next 3 months all of our appointments by about 33%. So, if you're not online, you want to be online. You want to be able to offer that ultimate customer service to your customers. Just let me know, and I will have someone talk with you. But Alvin, thank you. We've like I said, I think under the new normal, people are going to continue to find ways that they don't need to come into the DMV to do a transaction, and that's the way it should be. So, any other comments? Chris, I see your mic is on. Do you have a comment?
Just real quick, Rick. So if we have customers come into our service department at Car Credit Nation, and we didn't sell them the car, but they need their tags renewed, you're telling me that we can renew their tags through our online dealer portal?
You talk to your online dealer vendor. I've been pushing the online dealer vendors for years to do that. And again, there's been some reluctance because particularly for the larger dealers, where the service people then have to walk down the hall to the title clerk and say, okay, sign on, renew this tag. But my answer is yes. Now, I'm hoping someone's not going to correct me and say that, but we've been trying to encourage dealers to do that for quite some time. Just again, from a customer service standpoint, just adding that value to coming in and having their car serviced.
I think that's valuable, but I've heard of people doing it, but I've been discouraging it because I didn't think it was allowed to be done. So that's why I'm asking you if we can do it, because I'm going to teach it in classes if we can do it, and it's a benefit to our customers for coming in to get service at our service department. I would think it would keeping them out of DMV or keeping them from having to go there is a great benefit.
Well,
Chris, also, you can do that. You can renew the tags if you have the online portal. For anyone, but it is possible. Yes, you can do it.
Okay.
Chris, I would, and again, I don't want to stop any of your good customers from coming in, but the easiest way to renew your tags right now is to do it online or through the mail, and you actually get a discount if you do that. But all I'm saying is, when that car is sitting in your service bay, and you sort of train your service rep to say, oh, Mr. Holcomb, I see your tags are going to expire in a couple of months. Can we go ahead and take care of that for you while you're here? And you might have a number of customers say, well, absolutely, yeah, that'd be a great thing. Please do that. And Donald, thank you for confirming confirming what I was saying. So. Okay, folks, again, any other comments or thoughts? I think we have still set a record for the shortest meeting, and so I appreciate all that. We got some very important items discussed today. So thanks, everyone, and we will see you in July, either the way we're seeing you right now, or we'll see you in person. So we'll look forward to those further discussions. Everyone, have a great rest of the day and a great week.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.